So today's video is interesting for me because, I was planning on making this video, jump-starting a set of videos that talked about the things I've learned in the last 5 years. And the first thing I wanted to start with was something that I wrote down, and it was a simple statement. And the statement was, my family is my business. So the reason I wrote that statement, it was earlier this year that I wrote that down. And I wrote that statement because my priorities had been out of whack. But it wasn't just this year. It had been always. And I started looking back at my life, and I remember when I was in my mid-20s on staff at a church as a creative and a worship leader and doing graphic design. And I remember I was pursuing this career and staying loyal to my leaders and pouring my heart and soul into what I was doing. And at the same time, my mom was pretty sick, and I only lived maybe 4 or 5 hours away, 5 to 6 at the most. And I hardly ever got home. I remember years of where I stayed loyal to the church, where I would literally go home and hop back in the car on Christmas Eve to be doing something at a service on Christmas Day, or just things like that, where I gave my family very little priority. And it was all out of this notion of stay loyal, stay loyal, stay loyal. And I don't know that I ever really understood loyalty at the time, because I looked at it as like, that is what gets my everything. That's how I prove my loyalty. And I no longer think that way, but that thinking came into my business even. And here I am married and now have a son, and I'm pouring everything into being loyal to my customers and my clients and everybody else, but I can choose to make them the priority and not my family sometimes. And so, that thinking that had to change for me, and it's a work in progress right now, definitely, but I had to see my family as that's my business. And it's just for me that I had to think like this. It may not be for you, but if you're a pastor, your ministry that you're building and what you're building is not the ministry. What you're building is your family. And that has to always stay first. And if you're a creative on staff at a church, like, you're not building your career. Like, you've got your family, you've got these other things and these people in your life that are going to be there beyond that job. It seems like that's everything right now. It seems like what's in front of you is everything right now. And it's not always that way. And so the shift that had to happen in my mind was that I'm building my family. And your loyalty and your priorities all align when you start thinking differently about that. And so for me, that was the big shift that I made. And I just want to challenge you that, jobs come and go, clients come and go, congregation members come and go, but you don't get these days back that you have with your family. You don't get this time back. And unfortunately for me, when I was 27, I lost my mom, and I remember feeling like I wished that I would have made more time. I wish that I would have gone home for some extra trips. I wish I wouldn't have left for that Christmas Eve service. Could they not have maybe found somebody else to take in and do music that Sunday? There's just a lot of things that I never stood up for myself. And I would also say this, that don't blame your boss, don't blame other people for your priorities being out of whack. That is a big mistake that I've been guilty of, which is I would blame my leaders and say, well, they don't understand. Well, think about it. They have their own things to think about. They have their own things that they're answering for and responsible for. And you can't expect everybody, I can't expect my clients to be thinking about, well, I hope this fits into Justin's life. Like, you have to speak up, you have to speak out. And I don't think I ever really truly stood up for the most important things. It's not easy, but sometimes you have to do that. Just a couple days ago, I had to do it. There was things on the business side that needed to get done, but my wife asked if we could do one more night on a little staycation that we did. And you know what? I had to really look at and say, man, I want to get all these other things done, and they're really important. And it stresses me out when I'm not getting them done. But guess what? They'll still be there tomorrow. My family's the focus right now. This is what I'm building. This is going to outlive and outlast all my clients, even though they're important and they do provide me the opportunity to do what I do, and build my family. But it's my family that comes first. So for me, it's actually just been, it doesn't mean I neglect the other things. It just means I have to make choices and sacrifices. That's why I start my days at 4 a.m. That's not for everybody. But it allows me to make sure I'm home, by 5:30 p.m. and have the evenings with my family. When I am home and off, I try to leave the emails aside until my son goes down to bed, and just different choices that I make. I still get to be going at things full speed, but at the end of the day, loyalty isn't about, it's a two-way street. It isn't something you can just blame other people if your priorities get out of whack because you become too loyal to the wrong things. You have to take responsibility for it. You have to accept that. And as leaders, we need to see the people that work for us and the team members that we have. Loyalty is not proven by them getting their priorities out of whack and making us their priority. That is not loyalty. That is absolutely wrong. And so we need to make sure that we're creating environments that foster an environment and opportunity for them to feel safe, to tell us what their priorities are, tell us what matters to them, and create room for them to have time off, find ways to give them time off, maybe put off something for a little bit temporarily, because at the end of the day, you're helping them make the right priorities and the right choices. I guarantee you they'll stay and be on your team a lot longer too because of that. So that's my thought today, is that, for me, I'm building my business that I'm building is my family. For you, if you're a pastor, the ministry and what you're building, it's got to be your family first. And designers, creatives out there, quit worrying about building the career. Do really great work while you're there, but really put your focuses and your priorities on building a great family and the things that really matter, and live a lot longer than any of those jobs that we have. All right, guys, hope that helps you today, and look forward to seeing you next time.